As someone who details cars professionally and as someone who creates content, I sense that one of the biggest issues within the detailing industry, beyond the disagreements that people can have over brands and which product and affiliate and company you want to support, but the biggest issue that we face as detailers is trying to figure out which brand or product we want to purchase that's going to give us the best results, be the most enjoyable to use, and give us the most amount of profitability. Tonight, Jeff from Improved Garage and I are going to try to discuss that very issue. What are some of the must-haves that you have to have for detailing? And what are some products that maybe you don't really need? Is it better to buy the most expensive item, or do you go for cheap? How do you determine in what scenario you want to save or splurge? And what are some of the must-have chemicals, tools, organization, and even microfibers that you need to get the job done? Tonight, this is going to be a fun one. If you guys have questions, or even if you have suggestions, we want to hear from you guys. So make sure you chime in during the live chat, as well as in the comment section afterwards, because for those, whether you're a beginner or a professional detailer, we want to discuss what are some of the must-haves that you think you should have to detail a vehicle. So let's go ahead and get started with the show. Good evening, everybody. Oh man, it has been a long day. I don't know about you, Jeff. I just got done with like what's supposed to be a super easy detail turned into just a big old headache. But I am so glad that I get to hang out with you guys tonight. Hopefully, you guys are having an awesome week so far. Jeff, where are
Yeah,
you at? Where do you live?
I'm in California. So I'm in what they call the Central Coast. So San Luis Obispo would be the nearest city to me. I live in a place where people go on vacation, Chelsea. And I grew up in Pennsylvania, actually. So I'm like really familiar with your
Really?
weather. Yeah.
Where at in Pennsylvania?
The Northeast, like Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area.
Okay.
Yeah, my parents still live there, my grandparents. But yeah, so I live in a place that's like 70 and sunny, maybe 325 days out of the year.
Not
It's pretty,
not bitter at all.
it's
It's
pretty
fine.
nuts.
It's
The,
like
the beach is
the
over there.
utopia of detailing, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot here. A lot of nice cars, a lot of great weather. So yeah, I live in a great place.
Well, we've got
Dom has
Christy in
lived in like
California watching. We've got Slick Auto Styling, Dark Dragon, Adamo's Garage, AMI Detail, West Cat. We've got a ton of people already in the comment section. And what I want to hear from you guys as we do this show are your suggestions. This isn't to be battle of the brands or anything like that. This isn't meant to be exhaustive. But I think some of the hardest topics lately that I'm seeing is because the market is so saturated, just trying to figure out like what works. And I've worked with many, not every, but many as have you. And so
Mhm.
tonight we're going to try to tackle some of the detailing must-have tools, products, chemicals, etc., and just kind of discuss what really is essential to have a profitable detailing business, if that's the route you want to go, or just detail your car
Mhm.
properly. So thanks for hanging out with me tonight, Jeff.
Of course, thanks for having me.
So just so that way people can understand like what your background is, can you
Yeah.
share with us a little bit? What is your daytime job? How did you get into detailing? And then what made you start your YouTube channel, Improved Garage?
Yeah, so I do IT. I work for what's called a managed services provider. So basically, like we are an outsourced IT for companies that either are not large enough to have their own internal IT people or are really large and need some supplemental for their IT. So I have customers that are doctors, that are lawyers, that are accountants, that are engineering firms, that are manufacturing, like lots and lots of different customers that I work with in all different industries. I have a car dealership, it's one of my customers, which is why I've had so many Mercedes. So that's my daytime job. And I guess during COVID, like at the beginning of COVID, I went to work from home in the beginning of 2020, and I found that I had a bunch of time on my hands.
As
And
did many of us.
right, and, and I also found that I had extra money because we weren't going out to eat. We weren't. I wasn't driving to work every day, and I went from spending $500 a month on gas to spending like next to nothing. I went from
Geez,
having
California gas is expensive.
yeah, it's over $5 a gallon.
Woo!
Yeah.
You need to move back to Pennsylvania. I mean, we're like
Yeah.
20, 330. I don't know. I can't remember.
Every time I go to visit my parents, I take a picture at one of the pumps and I post it on my Facebook and I'm like, wow, gas is really cheap here. And then everybody yells at me. It's amazing. But
And we're actually expensive on the East Coast. That's the
right.
sad part.
So yeah, so I started investing in my garage. I found Matt at OG. I started spending a little bit more time on YouTube and stuff like that. And then I started investing in, like, I bought a Krensla setup. I did some Sonic cabinets. I have Swiss tracks. I did a couple different things. And then I started really diving into detailing. I bought an AMG Mercedes, and it was a used car, but it was like the most expensive car that I'd ever owned at the time. It was, my first $50,000 car, right? And the thing had like water spots all over it. And it was all swirled, and it was just a real mess. And I just started digging into it, and I started off with like Chemical Guys, that kind of stuff, digging into Chemical Guys, and then getting into all of these other brands. There's a local guy to me that owns a shop, and I I like paid him to train me how to do stuff the way that he was correcting cars, and then I was just kind of going all over and trying to figure out the ways that people were doing stuff. And I was watching Matt, and I was watching Larry Cosilla, and I was watching all these different creators, and then I don't know. I started listening to the OG podcast, and Matt talked a lot about obsessive compulsive disorder and not being able to relate to people, and doing his YouTube channel to kind of connect with other people that had similar interests and that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, if I'm going to be in the garage doing all this stuff anyway, I might as well turn on the camera, which is why my whole channel is kind of it's not really produced in a way. Like, it's very quickly edited. I call myself the lazy editor. You know what I mean? I'm setting up the camera and we're hanging out in the garage, and it just is what it is. And a lot of times it's detailing because I have interest in that. Sometimes it's working on engines. Sometimes it's doing, maintenance work, stuff like that. But the whole point was just to connect with people and to, I don't know, develop some relationships. And I've done that. There are people like Becca and Adamo and Eddie and Jamie and Conway, like lots of people that I talk to all the time.
Conway,
That
who seems to really appreciate your time. He's coming hard for you in the comments section. This
That's
guy
okay though.
again.
That's
I was like,
okay.
what's his beef with you? He's like, we're friends, we're good. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's
So,
awesome. I mean, I think a lot of us are in a similar situation. We took a passion, we turned it into a career or a side hustle.
mhm.
When it comes to choosing products, you touched a little bit on Chemical Guys, and they get a lot of hate within this
Right.
industry. But I feel like we all start there because
Mhm.
it's so readily available. And I know we're going to get into kind of the enthusiast versus pro detailer, but like, what were some of the things that you learned along the way as you got into detailing as far as the right products to buy? Because obviously, I mean, the name of your YouTube channel, Improve Garage,
Yeah.
you're looking to kind of enhance people's experience,
Mhm.
regardless whether it's mechanics or whatnot. But what makes a good detailing product? Like, what did you discover along the way?
Yeah. I guess there's a difference between cheap and a good value, right? So for me, I like the overall, like the whole user experience. I like the scent. I like having something that has high slickness if it's a quick detailer, or is very highly dilutable if it's a soap that I don't have to continuously fill up my foam cannon, or you don't have to put 6 ounces of it in to get it to foam, or products that are a little bit more durable and require less maintenance, but then they're just more problem free. I want to be having an enjoyable experience when I'm in the garage, whether it's washing a car, whether it's wrenching on a car. So if whether it's tools or um, detailing supplies or whatever products it might be, just I've adopted kind of an always invest and never spend kind of mentality. You know what I mean? Like, invest in what you think is going to be the best product for you, whether it's a scent or a user experience. to accomplish what you want to do. And then, I tend to, for the economical side, buy in bulk for the things that I like,
Yeah.
So
What are some examples of when you first started products that you thought were good buys? And would you say now we're like what, 5 years into your
yeah.
detailing? Would you say they're still good buys, or you've learned things along the way that you're like, eh?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I got kind of big into chemical guys. Then I started following OG, and I picked up a lot of the stuff that they had.
He's not cheap. No,
No,
no, no. I mean, the things that he sells on his website, and this is where
you're
I think a lot of people they get caught up in having to buy the best,
right,
and sometimes the best comes at a price. But if
right.
you're an enthusiast, even sometimes a professional detailer, mobile detailer, we feel this almost like peer pressure
Hmm.
that I haven't arrived until I
Right,
can buy this. And
right.
I think that sometimes it's marketing, sometimes it is a good investment, but like how do you distinguish between the two? Between someone pushing a product just for commission and it actually being, and like when should you decide sometimes it's okay to not have to have the best and the most expensive?
Yeah. So, as far as commissions are concerned, I don't put a lot of stock in that. Like, a lot of people will comment on our videos and be like, "Well, you're only saying this because, you have an affiliate code or this or that." And like, for any of us as creators, I can affiliate literally anything. It doesn't matter if it's Chemical Guys or Obsessed Garage or Thor, or like, I have affiliate codes for almost everything. And I also have
Yeah.
affiliation through Amazon, and they have almost every product that exists. Right. So I try not to put a lot of stock in that unless it's a manufacturer that's pushing their own products, in which case I think that you need to take that with a grain of salt to a degree, because anybody who has their own product line is going to be proud of that line, or they wouldn't have made it.
That's
And
their
they're going
baby.
to, yeah, it's their, exactly. And they built what was best for them and what they think that people want, right? Um, so I'm trying to think where I was going with that. The
Are you
the
ADHD too, Jeff?
maybe a little bit. um,
Not diagnosed, but now we are.
so
No, I hit you with a lot of questions, and I
yeah,
and we're talking about having to feel the pressure to purchase what's being
right,
put on us through content creators. And I mean, I know that I don't want to say I'm preaching to the choir. I am a content
right,
creator. I
right.
fully get that. I hear what you're saying though, and I agree with you. I take my role
Hmm.
very seriously as someone who creates content that I am not promoting a product just to promote a product or to get a
Right,
commission. I'm
right,
wanting to share my experience. And if that benefits you, if that gives you some input, that's great. I'm never saying this is the best. I
right.
mean, it's been very rare when I've gone
Yeah,
and said, you need to buy this. And normally it's just a blowout tool and a compressor. But
yeah.
um,
I usually try to provide. I always try to think of who the product is for, who it was intended for, and who I think that it would work for.
mm,
I try to be really honest about the product in general, what its performance was. I try to compare it to other things that I think are similar. So maybe you're not into this brand, but here might be something else that is similar that you're experienced with, to kind of give you an idea if you like or don't like
mhm.
something. And I think as creators, it can be a little tough because, I was actually talking with Franco a little bit about this yesterday, Devils in the Details, Franco.
Mhm.
And, I was saying, like, it's hard to trust a creator unless you know that that creator has similar, like that they value the same things that you do, right? Like, maybe you like soaps that have a very flowery scent, and maybe Becca likes soaps that have a very fruity scent. Well, maybe I like
A
fruity
cologne
scent.
scent, yeah.
Yeah, or whatever. Like, so it's like, well, if you're somebody who likes fruity scents and you're following Chelsea, and Chelsea's like, this smells great, this smells great, this smells great, this one I don't like, that might not matter to you at all, because you don't share that same desire for the same thing. Like, you're not valuing the same properties in the same way, right? So I think that part of it is understanding what the creator what their desires are, what their purposes are. Me, I'm primarily an enthusiast. I do some detailing, and I have detailed other cars for other people, and I do some paid stuff. I'm in a weird spot where I live in an HOA, and technically our HOA doesn't allow us to run a home-based business because we can't have signage and like all this other stuff. So I
Boo.
have to like keep it on the DL and do things for like coworkers, and like I just come home in someone else's car one day and wash it, or
I
detail it
work
for.
for a car dealership. I don't understand the big deal.
Right. Exactly. So I do stuff like that, but at the same point, you really need to understand the creators that you're following, like what their values are, what they're actually like, what these products are intended for, and then try to evaluate based on that. Like, does this meet the intended purpose that the manufacturer was going for? Are there other products from other manufacturers that are better or comparable or worse? And then you get into things like value, where you're talking about not cost, but like the amount per wash or the amount per use. I do smell in colors. That's true. He's right.
What does a flower smell like to you?
You pink.
I mean, I could track that. I
pink,
could track
pink,
that.
pink or blue, depending on what it is. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
where do you think, if someone is just starting out, where do
Mhm.
you think it is smartest to save for a product versus splurge?
Yeah. Um, so I would always invest. I always invest in equipment. Because
Buy once, cry once.
exactly. I would always spend for equipment that either, especially the stuff that enhances my experience or enhances my efficiency. So, like recently I did a wall mount pressure washer installation for Christy, which I don't care, wall, cart, whatever you end up doing. A hose reel that you can actually just roll up your hose when you're done is a game changer for somebody, whether you're washing 2 or 3 cars a week or you're washing 2 or 3 cars a day. Just being able to like get that out of the way, roll it up easily, not have kinks, not be fighting with it, take care of your hose, get it off the floor. And Becca kind of said the same thing. She built a cart and then later mounted hers on the wall. She's like, this is a huge difference when you change to that hose reel. And I don't care what brand of hose reel it is. Get something that's from a reputable, like I have a Cox personally hose reel, which I like. I know that Adamo has an MTM. I know there's a bunch of other manufacturers out there. um, and then as far as things that you can save on, uh, I would always splurge on anything that's user experience, anything that's safety related. So if you're talking about like we only live one life, right? So I want to be using products that are safe. I don't mind spending a little bit extra for a clean tool interior cleaner that is supposed to be safe for me and my family, right? Um, but then on things that I would save, I mean, there are a lot of comparable products. You don't need to buy the highest end thing, right? So like you mentioned new age cabinets, right? You have new age cabinets. And I have Sonic cabinets, but like I don't have the top tier of Sonic cabinets, right? There's a Sonic cabinet that's 3 times what mine is. There's Rousseau and Lista and like all these super duper high end cabinets. And at the end of the day, you don't want to buy something super cheap because you want to be able to like shut the doors
Yeah.
and have it work if it's not perfectly
Well, and you want
level.
it powder coated that it can withstand chemicals and all
Right.
those things. Yeah.
And not get all stained and ruined all the time.
Mhm.
But you also don't need to spend $30,000 on a cabinet array because it's got somebody's name on it. And at one point I had a Snap-on toolbox that was 6 grand, and like it was just a waste. I shouldn't have spent the money. Single toolbox, right? Like I don't anymore. Now my whole cabinet array is probably 10,000. I've got a lot actually. Becca just did a New Age Pro series. I think hers was like $2,500. It's like really nice, and it's all welded.
Yep.
It's all
I got mine
fully
at Car
boxed.
Supplies Warehouse. It was really, really nice.
Yeah, she got hers from Costco. Actually, it got delivered to
Ugh,
her house.
I don't have
Yeah,
a Costco membership.
it was
I'm
either
a
Costco or
BJ's
Sam's
member.
Club.
My husband and I keep going back and forth. Costco has so many nice things. But
Yeah,
I mean, that just says to you though, like you don't necessarily have to, not saying anything negative about like, any of these
right,
uh retail providers that we support, Car Supplies Warehouse, Obsessed Garage, all these places.
right,
You can get sometimes their products for cheaper at other places. So just shop around.
right.
And if you want to support that company, support that company.
Yeah,
If you want to support that affiliate, go for it. But um I know a lot of people were talking about hose reels, and you mentioned that
Yeah.
it is like a game changer. Have you seen my setup?
Hmm.
Okay. I have an outdoor spigot.
Right.
I don't how do I even go about doing that? How would someone like me who doesn't have access to water in the garage
Hmm.
have that? I can't mount it outside. I'm
Well,
Pennsylvania, remember?
so there's a couple options, I think. So what
You're gonna come to
Christy,
my house next?
I could next time in Pennsylvania. Um, I go
Visit
there
mom and dad and then
a
just drive
couple
down
times a
about
year.
3 hours.
Um, so what we did for Christy, she also has water outside. So
Okay.
her pressure washer, her hose reel, and all of her stuff is installed inside her garage. And she has a garden hose that's rolled up outside her garage on the outside. And she brings it around under the garage door and she hooks it into it when she's using it, and then she disconnects it when she's not. Becca is also outside. When she did hers, she actually built a cart. So she has a cart that has the hose reel mounted on it, has the pressure washer mounted to it. She actually even had a DI, little portable DI system that was also on the cart. And she would roll it up to her spigot outside, connect it to the spigot, and then just use it from where it was. And run the extension cord inside the garage to plug the thing in and run it that way. So I mean, I think that there are a couple different creative options that you can have for it, whether it's a cart or mounting on the interior. Honestly, being in Pennsylvania and knowing what the weather's like there, your garage is heated. I know you
It
have an
is
AC.
the it is. The issue for me is that I don't have the wall space.
Okay.
Like, I have and, I have all the new age cabinets on the back wall.
Right.
The whole left side of the garage is my kids' balls and bikes and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that that I can't necessarily take. The
Mm-hmm.
right side, which is an interior wall,
Mm-hmm.
we have, like, a huge section and portal for all of our batteries and chargers because my husband has an HVAC business, so he needs drills and things like that always.
Yeah.
And then I have a window, and then I have my polishers, and
Mm-hmm.
that's about it. So it's like
Yeah.
it's limited. And then I've got the two big garage doors, so I don't really have space on either side of the garage door
Yeah.
to do something like that. So
Well,
maybe a
and
cart would be better.
yeah, I think a cart would be better. And also, like, from a weather perspective, if you're not going to heat your garage year round, or your garage drops below freezing certain times of year or whatever, you could just take the cart and roll it inside somewhere, and make sure that it doesn't freeze, or put it up against the interior wall. It gives you some flexibility around that if you decide you don't want to heat the garage. I think something else that one of the best things you can do for your garage is a shed. You mentioned
Someone
like,
actually just said, "Chelsea, you need a shed."
yeah,
I do have
like
a shed, but my husband uses that for storage for his business. We
yeah.
actually wanted to build a third garage bay beside the garage because
Hmm.
his dad has a 72 Nova that he wants
Hmm.
to pass on to Dave.
Hmm.
But for lack of better terms, we got shut down by the township because of zoning.
Hmm.
It's not going to happen. So even if I were to put a shed up, I'm sure they would drive by one day and just be like, "Nope,
Yeah.
take it down." So,
Yeah. I mean, so that was one of the things that I did kind of early on. I had a bunch of storage in my garage. I had, what everybody has. I had racking. I
mhm.
had a bunch of bins, totes, Christmas supplies, all of that kind of stuff. Um, and you can do. There are companies that make, if your ceilings are tall enough, mine are 10 feet. You can do storage that hangs from the ceiling where you can put a lot of those totes and bins and those types of things. Um, I put a lot of my Christmas in my attic. I do have an attic over my garage, which is really nice.
Mhm.
And then I also have a small shed in the backyard, and that's where like bicycles, scooter, that kind of stuff. It's gotten easier as like time has gone on. The kids have gotten older. There's only one kid home now. But we have like her bicycle, her skateboard, her scooter, all of that stuff is out there. Soccer balls and that kind of stuff. And it helps quite a bit. And then you also don't have to worry about kids accidentally denting a car or scratching something when they're bringing their scooters and bikes in and out.
Yep.
And I've had that happen before. You can't be mad at them. Like, they're doing the best they can. They're
Yeah.
kids, but
It's definitely something to consider, though. So, and I think these are all things that people have to kind of think through if they want to
yeah.
detail in their garage, because oftentimes it's either the storage or the car. You can't have
Yep.
both.
Yep.
So having those options, I think, is great for many people. I know a lot
Yeah.
of people. It sounds like, what is it? These comments keep flying. When I go to hit on it, it rolls. Sounds like the
It's
kids
like-
need to move out. Conway, no, they are going to be with me for a very long time. Oh my goodness, my son is 13, my daughter is 10. Bikes, I don't know if are going to be eternal, but the kids, I have
Yeah.
a feeling, are going to be with me for at least the next 10 years, which I'm okay with. I'll be
Well,
honest.
like I mounted my bikes to the ceiling. So I have hooks in the ceiling. I mount the bikes upside down from the ceiling. So we have
I
three.
have two of that. The issue
Yeah.
is
The
that
kids
like
can't get them down.
they can't, and the handles are so freaking wide.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
anyways, when it comes to products
Hmm.
for a weekend detailer versus a professional detailer, do you
Mm.
think that there's a difference in what tools and chemicals and supplies they need with those two
Yeah.
different spectrums?
Yeah. So tools wise, I would say, a pro, I would definitely do like I said, the buy once, cry once, and probably go up a tier. Not the most expensive thing in the world. Like I have a lot of Milwaukee tools, right? So there are brands that are more expensive than Milwaukee, like Ego and Flex, and um, there are a bunch of brands out there, right? That are
Mhm.
slightly higher than Milwaukee. But there are also brands that are lower, like maybe like a Ryobi or a Rigid or something along those lines. So I'm kind of in that camp of like not the most expensive, but Milwaukee is pretty well regarded, good warranty, good support. Yeah, Festool is a great example. Chris just said of a tool that's way more expensive. I would love to have a workshop full of Festool stuff, but I can't buy $600 vacuums. You know what I mean? Like there's a level beyond where I am.
Well,
Um,
and I will speak to this. So I don't have top of the line stuff. I use
right,
a DeWalt vacuum. It works
right.
fantastic. It has a
Like your
rigid
Aqua
hose.
Pro Vac actually is awesome.
I freaking love that thing.
I know
I
you do.
actually had a Mighty and I
Yeah,
sold it. I
yeah,
went for what was a $1,200 extractor, ended up getting like carpal tunnel and arthritis from it. Found that it really didn't keep the water hot as long as it claimed, because after
right,
30 seconds of using it, I'm like, it's cold again.
right.
And it didn't spray all the way to the head. My $500 extractor from Aqua Provac,
Yeah,
I can put hot water in it, so I don't have to deal with that. Water goes all the way to the head. It's compact, it's lightweight, doesn't hurt my hand. And I was like, okay,
yeah,
we're getting rid of it. The
yeah.
DeWalt vacuum. I know a lot of people have like higher grade ones. It
Hmm.
works perfect for what I need. I've
Yeah,
used a Ryobi pressure washer for years. In fact, I sold you my Active. You fixed it.
yeah.
How's it
The
going,
AR,
by the way? Give it
AR.
my love.
Yeah, it works. It works great.
What was
Yeah.
wrong with it officially?
It had a broken spring. So there is a spring inside it that relieves pressure. So when you first turn it on and the motor starts to spin, if there's pressure already in the head, it can't spin. So there's a
Okay.
spring that relieves pressure when it's not running so that the motor can actually spin and do its thing. And the spring broke and a piece of it got lodged in the ball and then it wouldn't build pressure. So
I would
I
have
mean,
never have
it
known
was
to
it
even.
was just the part that I took it apart until I found what was broken and eventually fixed it. But I would say if I was doing it professionally, I would probably have extras of the things that I really need. Like I wouldn't only own one pressure washer. I would probably have a spare
Well, I do have a
because
backup, but it's a Ryobi 1900.
right. But it's like there's a level of any port in a storm. Like if I'm an enthusiast and all of a sudden I want to wash my car today, but my pressure washer is broken.
I'm going to Home Depot.
Yeah, or I just don't wash my car this weekend until this one gets fixed, right?
Or I use a
Or
hose.
or yes, or I use a hose and slum it for a while, right? But like if
Oh.
but like if I'm a pro and I've got 3 cars to do today, 2 cars to do today, 6 cars to do this week, something like that. Like I might not have the time that I need to fix this thing or to go and run to like if you're in the middle of a detail, you've got a car for a couple of hours. Do you have
Mhm.
the time to go run down the street to Home Depot to buy a pressure washer to bring it back, set it all up? Like, can you lose that
I've
hour?
I've done that
You've
before,
done it,
and
but
that's why I now have a backup because
right,
it happened to me, and that's why I'll be honest with you. I had the Active, that broke. I went
right,
to Home Depot and I got a Ryobi, and I was like,
right,
I can't send the Active out for replacement. Like,
right,
it wasn't covered because I voided the warranty by using it as a professional, which is
right,
crazy to me. Why
right.
do you build a commercial grade pressure washer and the warranty is voided if you use it professionally? Make it make sense, Jeff.
I can't.
I
I mean,
almost like stopped using it out of like just frustration and annoyance. I'm like, fine, I'm going to buy a Ryobi. Has a
yeah,
2 to 3 year warranty. If it breaks,
yeah.
I go back to Home Depot. I get another one. If I have a backup, I have a
Mhm.
backup.
Well,
And
for what it's worth, I bought my dad a Karcher Karcher K1700. And every time I go to their house, I use it. I wash their cars with it. I've done videos with it before. It works great.
Yeah.
Like it does the job just fine. Does it take maybe, I don't know, 30 seconds longer to rinse the soap off the car? Yeah, sure. But like, it's still, you're not back to using a hose, right? You've still got something that's
We're
better.
not
Some
going back
level.
to caveman days, you know.
I did
And
a video the other day on a hose nozzle, just a nozzle, just a spray nozzle, right? And
a
somebody
whole
commented,
video on a nozzle?
it was just a short,
Okay, I
but
was like, please tell me this was very brief.
so somebody commented on me. He's like, why do you need a hose nozzle? Just hold your thumb over it. I was like,
Have you seen the videos where people literally will take a microfiber, put soap on it, hold it over the hose, and like
Mhm.
foam the vehicle? I mean,
No,
there's a
I haven't.
thousand. It's crazy. I saw it. And I was like, I mean, it
It's
works. It gets
hilarious.
soap on the vehicle. I've seen it where they literally take an entire bottle of Dawn and they'll squeeze it over the water as it's being shot out of the hose and it
Yeah,
foams it down. And I'm like, different soap might have been better, but hey, you're getting there. It's okay.
right.
We all start somewhere, right? Um, but yeah, and I mean, when it comes to, Chris said it earlier, and I had the comment up and I took it down. The
Yeah,
professional needs to spend more money on their tools, less on their chemicals. Whereas
right.
for the enthusiast, they're probably going to spend more on chemicals than tools because
Hmm.
they don't really need all of the tools. Like, what would
I
you
don't.
say for a beginner? Like, what are the basics that they need?
Yeah, I mean, I would say a pressure washer of some kind. It doesn't need to be anything special. I started off with a Harbor Freight pressure washer originally, and then I upgraded to a Lowe's Greenworks, and then eventually I just went to a Krenzla. Um, and now I have my own custom like thing that I built. But um,
He's got IT money, folks.
yeah, you want to know how to make you want to know how to make a lot of money as a detailer? Start off with even more money in IT. No, I'm just kidding. That's
It
not.
does seem though that there is a trend
There
though
is a
that
trend of IT
you
people
and
that do
Keeve and
detailing.
Eddie and all that, you
Yeah,
guys like you don't mess around. Like even Pan, like you guys invest in top of the line stuff. And then there's us over here who are like
yeah,
moms, like going to
yeah,
Aldi's just to buy like the cheap cereal that's not name brand. And I'm like, that would be nice.
yeah. So I would say I think a pressure washer is really like it's definitely needed. I would say the hose reel because it really cuts down on the amount of time that you're spending doing the
I would
thing.
say that's negotiable, but
That's
definitely pressure washer.
yeah, I think that it would be it's a nice to have, but it's like close to a need to have, in my opinion. I think
Wow.
that everybody should have a 5-inch polisher. 5-inch DA would probably be the first polishing machine that anybody should own. I mean, it could be a corded machine, it could be a cordless machine.
Harbor
I
Freight.
Yeah, I mean, I started off with a Harbor Freight. I did a
Mhm.
Max Shine for a while. At this point, I've tested, I don't know, 25, 30 different polishers. I currently have Milwaukee. I don't have Milwaukee because the Milwaukees are the best. Truthfully, I think that there are a couple polishers that are slightly better than the Milwaukees. I have them because I'm in the Milwaukee ecosystem and I have a whole bunch of batteries. And like, if I'm going to reinvest in a tool line, like I played with Ivan's polisher, right? And I liked it, but at the same point, like I'm not going to invest in a whole Makita battery system to
For
adopt
one
another
polisher.
thing. Same thing with liquid elements. That's a new thing that's out that a lot of people are talking about. Again, it's Makita. And yes, there are adapters, but they make the batteries a lot bigger and they turn off the ergonomics. And I just don't like them as much. So anyway, I would say a 5-inch DA is probably the first polisher that anybody should buy if they want to get into paint correction. You could do 90% of a car with one. And then certain things like a 1-inch and 3-inch are like nice to have, especially if you're doing it professionally, but you don't need them. You could do it without it.
I rarely use mine. I
Yeah.
think I use my 3-inch for headlights. That's about it.
I I have a 3-inch Merca and I use it all the time, but it's
I
more because
I've heard people brag about your Merca. Christy was
well,
like, "Ah," as she
I actually so should I say I have 3 Mercas. I have
IT money, folks. I
I have
just
I have the 3-inch DA, the
he's
1-inch
not
DA, and the
bragging.
3-inch
He's just
rotary. No, but I love the Merca. I really do. But I will say, if the ShineMate existed before the Merca did, I don't know that I would own the Merca. Right? I love the Merca, And I decided at the end of the day, like I owned both simultaneously, but I decided at the end of the day, I would rather sell the Shine Mate because I could get nearly full price for it than sell the Merca, which would sell for half. And like, it was like, okay, so do I want a Merca for $500 or do I want a Shine Mate for $3? Right. And I ended up keeping the Merca, but, um, I don't think a 3 inch is really necessary or a 1 inch is really necessary unless you're really doing it professionally. You're making good money, and you've got a lot of cars where it's like you need to do edge work. You're getting into door handles, things like that, where it's going to give you efficiency and time. I use the Merc all the time because it's quiet on camera and I don't have to edit as much on my videos. Honestly,
Because
it's
you're a
really
lazy
easy.
editor.
Yes, I'm a lazy editor. Yes, so I use the rotary all the time, the Milwaukee rotary, or I use the Merca because they're both quiet. Like, I don't know. And then
Everyone is saying they love the Shine Mate. I've
yes,
never tried one. I feel like I need to now. You guys are
yeah,
influencing me. I have an SPTA 15 millimeter like battery powered polisher that I love for paint enhancements. It's not the most powerful, but it
mm-hmm,
was super cheap. It gets the job done. And then I have a company, I think it was China, like their Alibaba type
mm-hmm,
polishers. They sent me, I even had kind of connected me. It's from Car Shield.
mm-hmm,
But I want to think it was like under $200. Maybe the
yeah.
price has changed. It was a quarter polisher, 15 millimeter. That thing is freaking awesome.
What's funny is they reached out to me and they're like, "Hey, do you want to
Car
polish it?" And I'm like,
Shield.
"Sure." Car Shield. They did, and I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Decent
And
though,
then
isn't it?
and then they actually didn't respond. Like I never got it.
Tony. Oh,
It's okay. They asked me if I wanted it. I was like, "Sure." But anyway, it
you
was fine.
send another email. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
seriously, like for cheap, it's really great. The issue for me is I can't really link it. Like
Right.
it's on Amazon somewhere, but I don't know how
Yeah.
to link it. But I love it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
like for me, that's where I'm like, do I buy a polisher that I can get affiliate commission with, or do I just use that something that works? And I'm like, screw it. I'm going
Yeah.
to use what works at the end of the
I
day.
would
If
use the
people
one that
say,
works, and when
yeah,
it breaks, get something else,
I
you
love it.
know?
I mean, I had Griot's Garage, I had Rupes, I had
Mhm.
Flex.
Mhm.
The Flex was too powerful for me. I'll be honest with you. I had the 3401. I did not like the fact that it counter rotated. It just was
Mhm.
like weird. I was like fighting it. It felt like a
Mhm.
rotary, but different. I had the Griots. I still have the Griots. Absolutely love it. Was starting to get like a lot of tingling in my hand though.
Right.
It was very powerful. And then the Rupes, it's fantastic. It's ergonomic, but it stalls very easily. And I was
Right.
like, so
Yeah.
sometimes buying the most expensive, especially when it comes to tools like that,
Right.
doesn't always pay out. And that's where like I got this Alibaba polisher. It worked really
Mhm.
well. The
Yeah.
Harbor Freight Bauer ones, like Bayer Bauer. How do you say that? Bauer?
Bauer, I think it is.
Bauer. Too
Yeah.
many vowels. But anyways, they work fantastic. What we're saying is you can try something. If it doesn't
Mhm.
work, that's where if you want to buy once, cry once, buy the most expensive. Doesn't always pan out that way though. And that's the
Yeah.
hard part. And that's where you got to do your research. And I think like what you said earlier, knowing who you're following, like
Mhm.
what situation they're working with, know that you can trust that person. Maybe watch several videos to see if there's a majority. If one person
Mhm.
is saying it's the best, but three people are saying it sucks, like
Yeah.
that's the hard part. But hopefully people are being transparent and honest and not just shilling a product to shill a
Yeah.
product.
Yeah, I mean, Milwaukee's pretty mid-level, and honestly, that's one of the few things I can affiliate. I used to through OG because OG carried Milwaukee for a while, but they don't anymore. But I still use it in all my videos, kind of in the same boat as you. It's like I'm just not going to adopt a whole nother battery system. At some point, maybe they'll come out with a new model. I'll check it out and see how it is. Becca just got a little like 12 volt. It's like the adhesion promoter polish
Yeah.
that Ivan does. So it's a DA for like that. It's like an 8 millimeter throw or 5 millimeter throw or something like that. I want to try that. It's Milwaukee, but I don't know. I don't have it yet. It's like $300. I
So
don't know.
I have my next question for you, and I want to know from the people who are watching if you agree with this statement or question: Are bad products always cheap, and are cheap products always bad?
I don't think so. Um, there are a lot of times where I have bought something that I thought was great and ended up hating it and getting rid of it. And there are a lot of times okay, so if you compare the Shine Mate, and I'm talking about the EB212, like the little 3 inch, right? If you compare that guy that was released at SEMA last year to the Merca, it's half the price. And it's really not bad. It actually works really well. It's super quiet. It's actually very nice. Um, so yes, it's still a $250, $300 polisher or whatever, but it's like it's half the price of its competitor, and it's really, really solid. So I don't think so. I think that there are a lot of options out there for inexpensive products that are really great. And we're seeing that, like, Detail Co. is actually a fantastic example of that. You look at them, like the price per wash with their dilutions and stuff. They might, you put their, I don't know, Infinity up next to like some other sealant, and like they might be the same price, but like when you realize that you dilute Infinity 1 to 1 to 3 to 1, it's like, well, actually, it's a lot cheaper to buy Infinity than it is to buy this other sealant that you're going to use straight, and end up going through a lot more product. So, on the chemical side of things too, I think that there are really some good options out there that are pretty inexpensive, and they're certainly not bad.
So we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to get into some of the chemical must-haves, tool must-haves, microfiber and storage must-haves. And I want you guys to chime in the comment section if you agree or disagree with our opinions. But let's hear a quick word from our sponsor.
So I'm going to share a little insider information with you guys. I like my house to smell clean. In fact, I have a Glade plug-in in every room with apple cinnamon scent. It's one of my favorites. It smells like home. People are always coming inside my house and just like, oh my gosh, your house smells so good. Thank you, Glade. As good as my house smells, my car smells awful right now. I have 2 kids involved in sports and soccer, and their soccer cleats, we've just gotten to a point of toxicity that there's no fixing that. And when I actually saw that BioBombs has an apple sin scent, I can't even explain to you guys how excited I was that now my car can smell as good as my house. So for those of you that maybe you like a good Glade plug-in, a fall scent, you want your car to smell as comforting as your home, we've got a limited edition apple sin scent. And maybe you don't like apple. Maybe you want to smell fall. We got some pumpkin. So 2 limited edition scents. Get them before they're gone. For those of you that want to have a little fall in your car as you're driving around, get rid of some funk and just have a nice relaxing drive, go ahead, grab you some before they're gone.
Okay, so I didn't know that existed, and now I want it.
The apple sin is amazing. Like, so it smells so good. I put it in my car today, and like it was on my fingers for like 20 minutes, and I was just like sniffing my fingers. It was the grossest thing, but it smelled so good.
So Conway made this thing that he calls the scent locker. It's a little plastic 3D printed box that you can put BioFresh bars in. And it's designed to like sit under your seat. So the BioFresh bar isn't like, it's not in a bag or whatever, but it's got these little perforated holes in it. It's really sweet. He 3D printed a whole bunch of them, and he sent some to me.
They do make little baggies though.
Yeah, I have a couple of those too, actually, from SEMA. So I've got like 4 or 5 of those, like here or there around my garage, with like a portion of a BioFresh. It's all bevy grape. My garage always smells grape, but now I want to try the apple ones. I will say last year, so we switched to an artificial tree a couple of years ago, and I can't actually remember the why, but anyway, we have an artificial Christmas tree, and we used to buy these like sticks, that like the pine scented sticks. I was buying the pine BioFresh bars and sticking those in the tree. I took an ornament and stuck it through it, and like the ornament hook, and hung it up. It lasted like the whole season. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, yeah, when I saw the apple, I was like, Christian, I need you to send that to me. My car smells so bad. I ripped it up, put it in under the seat. It smells so good now. So
yeah, I'll steal a couple at SEMA.
Thanks, Christian. You're the best. Oh
yeah, that birch. That's what it was called. That birch. That was the Christmas tree scent. It was really good.
Man alive. Well, add that to your. Would you call that a chemical or just a product must-haves?
I mean, it replaces a chemical in a lot of cases, right? Lots of people use a scent, or they use a, or a deodorizer or something like that. So I'd say, yeah, it's probably a chemical. Maybe it's a must-have. I don't know. Whatever.
Do it, Conway. I'll check it out. Maybe you'll go into business and sell them on Thor's website. That would be awesome.
They are sweet, honestly.
So what would you say if we're getting into detailing? Okay. Maybe we'll do a classification of pro to professional, enthusiast to professional. Like, at what point would you say this is the beginner category? Well, I guess we'll go this way. And then other things that you need to purchase as a professional. So starting out with chemicals,
Mhm.
we've got these 3 pH soap systems. We've got honestly, sometimes it's overwhelming the amount of chemicals out there. What would you say are the must-haves?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always good to have an active foam of some kind. There are a lot of inexpensive ones out there now. Hard Wash is really good. That the Detail Co. Quivers Impact Foam actually works well. That one's a little bit
So
lower on the.
good.
It's a little bit lower on the pH scale. It's like a 9. So it's not super hard, but Luminous L pre-wash actually works really well, and it can be diluted like insanely. So on the pro side of things, like that's a soap that's probably actually a little dangerous, because if you don't run the right dilutions, I could see you potentially having problems, right? Because with trim or whatever, because it's such an alkaline pH. But I would say you want some sort of active foam. You want some sort of pH neutral foam. I like mint from Luminous. I like if you're looking for something incredible or cheap, Incredible Suds and Apex Auto Wash are both.
Apex definitely is a good one.
They're both like inexpensive, and the dilution ratios, they both target like a 300 to 1 PIR, where like GSF is 100 to 1. So like you use triple the amount of GSF that you do Apex, and Apex still foams like crazy. So I've always said like Apex is one of those soaps that embarrasses a lot of soaps that are 3-4 times the money per
Literally,
wash.
the dilution, the official terminology that Aaron uses for his soap is you put in the bucket, and that's how much soap you need. Sometimes we measure with glug glugs. He's a so it's a thimble size amount
Yeah,
of soap is all you need.
it just
Okay,
goes so far. It's great. And then I would say a lot of pros are going to lean more towards the APC route, getting an all-purpose cleaner, maybe
Mhm.
having 2 or 3 different dilutions for the same APC, one that
Do
you
you have
use
to be
for.
careful though, because you can do some damage with
You
APC if you
certainly
don't know what
can.
you're doing. And that's
I
why I agree with you. I would put that more in like the professional. It's more economical than having to do the 2, 3 pH systems.
Right.
But you can really screw up a coating and a vehicle, letting it
Hmm.
sit in the sun, staining paint, staining glass, staining trim. So
Yeah.
proceed with
And
caution.
then on the enthusiast side, I'm more towards like, I want something that's dedicated to trim. I want something that's dedicated to interior. I want something that's dedicated to tires. And I'm okay buying a couple extra products and having 10 different bottles on the shelf because I've got a dedicated tire cleaner. But truthfully, APC can do a lot of those things. And you look at like DIY Detail, they're all
Mhm.
clean. He uses that for a lot of different things: wheel cleaner, tire cleaner. They occasionally use it in door jams, interior, certain, all over the place, right? So I would say APC on the pro side.
I've got
Chelsea
a
knows.
couple people coming for me with Dark Fury. Um, that is actually, I would say, a chemical must have, though. But you have to pursue with caution. This is where I would say it's more in the professional category. I
Mhm,
wouldn't leave it in the hands of a beginner, someone who has no idea. When used properly, cool panel, like spray it down with water
mhm,
first, dilute it properly. Don't let it sit on dry on there. It's super affordable, super powerful. You can touchless clean engines, door jams, um, rubber mats, all these areas that can handle road film,
mhm.
bugs, a ton of things. So I would say that's a chemical must have. Personally, I would love to see someone take that product and make it a little bit more safer, but just as powerful.
Build like a
And
ready to use or something like that, or
maybe
variant,
not
or
ready to use, but just something that doesn't stain the paint if used improperly. Because
okay.
I've seen many people, and I had to experiment with it because I had this early on when I was using Dark Fury. When I
Mhm.
first started detailing, people were combining Dark Fury and an acid together to make like a super pungent cleaner. And it was a great like touchless wheel cleaner. I know Anthony Santiago over at Detailing for Money, like he has preached, combining those two products. You can do a lot of damage though by mixing a high alkaline and a low acid together if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
Sometimes as detailers, I think we think we're all chemists and mad scientists, and sometimes we're making a bomb. It's
I've said
not
so many
always the
times,
best.
I don't look at SDS sheets because I'm not a chemist, right? Like I'm trusting.
Everyone makes fun of me because I detail in flip-flops, and I'm like, I mean, I have water right there. If I get it on
Right.
my skin, I rinse it off. Like I'm not like walking around dripping my arms in dark fury going, it's fine. It's fine. but you do have to be careful with it. I've seen it ghost paint. And when I
Right.
say ghost paint, it's so strong. This is me being a chemist thinking I
Right.
know how it's designed. The brown is actually a surfactant within the product.
Right.
It's not that it's actually like dyeing it, but where you've sprayed it, if you are spraying it on a dry panel that's hot and you spray it, you'll see like spots where the chemical like drip down the paint. And it's not that it has stained it. I think it's actually pulled oil out of the paint and dulled it because it's so strong. It's kind of like a high spot, but in reverse. It's like pulled out oil versus something that's on top of the paint. And so the solution to that is wet the panel down first, make sure
Right.
it's cool, dilute it properly. I don't spray the
Mhm.
product dry on the panel. If you have to
Well,
polish afterwards, though.
and you can see that with a lot, well, not the same thing, but something similar with a lot of like I see a lot of people coming for Infinity, a lot of people coming for Pan's Quick Detailer, because those are products that are actually like dilutable and they're relying on there being some water on the panel. So like the first time I picked up Infinity, I sprayed it on a dry panel and I tried using it like a topper, right? Like OG drying aid or Stay
No.
Strong Detailer or something like that. And Eddie's like, bro, what are you doing?
We
He's
didn't
like, it
know.
needs water. And I'm like, I don't know.
Was that
I'm
on
using
the
it the same way I
instructions
always do
initially?
it. Yeah.
It wasn't on the instructions.
So so he's like, spray it on the towel or dilute it 3-to-1. I was like, 3-to-1, this is awesome. But it's like when you buy a bottle and it comes with a sprayer, you assume it's ready to use, and then you just spray it right on the panel. And then like, so I think it's one of those
Hopefully
things.
V2 has those instructions.
Yeah, and I had a weird thing with Pan's Quick Detailer, and not to knock on him, I actually think it works really well, but it doesn't work well with Armor Detail Supply Hero. So I rinseless washed Jessica's car with Hero, and then I sprayed the Quick Detailer on it as like a topper or whatever. Well, Hero leaves along some like non-durable polymer or some non-durable protection is what Bradley calls it. And it's like whatever that is interacts with Pan's Quick Detailer and creates Streak City. Like it's tough. So like sometimes you have to play with products and find out like what works well together, right? And which ones are most compatible. And it might be a different brand. But that's where I think aligning with a singular brand can kind of be nice because they're building product line that's designed to work together. And I don't think that there's a lot of like tire dressings. You're not going to find anything that's really damaging there. Pick something that has the level of shine that you like and the cost that you're okay with and go from there. Wheel cleaners, that's another one where like wheel acid is a scary thing. Like that could be real deal, right? You could
Is that
ruin somebody's
weather?
wheels. Yes, I'm having weather for the first time, I swear to God,
I'm going to
since
pray
maybe
for
February.
you. That sounded intense.
Yeah. I'm actually pumped. I haven't had a thunderstorm. I think the last thunderstorm I was in Pennsylvania, Chelsea, and it was like 2 years ago. Swear to God.
Are y'all in a drought over there?
Always.
But anyways, I know you have an HOA meeting that you got to get to. And
It's
we're
okay.
52 minutes into this.
Yeah.
We've talked about active foam, pH neutral soap. You were saying tire cleaner, wheel cleaner. Personally, I like a good combo.
Yep.
A good tire wheel cleaner, something
Maniac
like a shine.
is a good or Shine Supply Wise Guy is a good one.
Super affordable, dilutable 1-to-1.
Mhm.
Works really well for majority of scenarios. Acid wheel cleaners, that's where I'd say professional.
Right.
If you don't know what you're doing with an acid, you can screw your wheels up. Most people, if you haven't cleaned them in 2 years and they're clear coated, maybe an acid would work. But an iron remover might actually work just as well as an acid, but be safer.
Right.
That's where, having iron removers, I don't know if I would necessarily say that you have to have an iron remover. If you're getting ready for protection coating, maybe doing a decon wash every 6 months. It's not a routine product that you need though. It's scenario based. Tar removers, would you say that they're essential?
I think so, because there really isn't a replacement for them when you need one, right? Do I use it on every wash? No.
Unless it's Dark Fury. I'm just saying.
But like, do I care? Do I necessarily care what brand is on the shelf? Like, I've used a dozen different tar removers. They're all fairly effective. I don't care. Like, CarPro Tar X is relatively inexpensive. But
Stoner Tarminator, one of the best.
Exactly. That's another one's available everywhere. O'Reilly's, you can buy it easily. it's like, do I need a tar remover for every car? No, most of the time I don't use it at all. But
Mhm.
when you have a car that's covered in tar,
You need
there's
it.
really nothing else that deals with tar the way that a dedicated tar remover does. Um, like,
Rich just brought up one of my favorite products back when I first started detailing, F-Bomb from American Detailer Garage. Have you ever used that? Did your
I have
power
not.
just go out?
Hold on a sec. It flipped to my. So yes, my power just went out, but I have
You're an
solar.
IT guy and you have a backup generator
Well, I
probably.
have solar actually, and I have I have 2 Tesla power walls on the side of my garage that they'll run my house all night, so I'm good.
But Rich, this is a great product recommendation that covers a lot of areas of the vehicle. You can use it on the exterior as like a foaming pre-soak. You can use it on the interior to clean plastics. You can use it for carpets. You can use it for tire wheel cleaner. That is a great product right there.
Mhm.
So I highly recommend that. I should do more videos of that. I haven't used that in such a long time. You just made me a little reminiscent, Rich. Thank you. But that's just to say, like, you don't have to buy the specific product for the category or the area that you're trying to target. Sometimes there's one product that can be diluted different ways to clean a multiple of those, especially for the enthusiast.
Yeah.
So
Back to the APC, it's like you could use something like clean tool degreaser, industrial degreaser. You can do that between like straight and 1 to 10. Like, okay, well, for an engine bay, it's actually great straight. But at 1 to 10, it can work as an interior cleaner. Like, there's some things have a really wide range, and that's super nice.
even like Mile Deep, I think it's their release, or their citrus based pre spray. You can
Mm-hmm.
use that for carpets. You can use that on the
Mm-hmm.
interior. You can use that for tires and wheels, a
Mm-hmm.
bunch. So sometimes do research. Sometimes it like what frustrates me though is when manufacturers don't really tell you some of the off label uses because of liability,
Right.
protecting themselves, and you discover something and you're like, oh wow. So that's the beauty of YouTube, where you can follow these people where they share with you guys
Yeah.
some of these outside, we call them Easter eggs, these little outside the box things that you can do. If it were to come down to tools, what are some tools that you think are must have for
Yeah.
beginner into pro?
I think everybody needs to have a shop vac. I don't care what logo is on it. I started off with a rigid. You talked about your DeWalt. I think everybody needs to start off with a shop vac. When you become a baller and you need some sort of carpet extractor, if you can't afford a carpet extractor, like a dedicated, like your Aqua Pro vac, you can use a wet dry vac with a nozzle on it and use that as an extractor. Yes, you have to spray it by hand and maybe you have to use a drill brush or something like that for agitation, but you can turn a vacuum into an extractor pretty easily. And I did that for 2-3 years. I would say the Tornador. You've brought that up before, like that was a
I
pretty big
didn't
game changer.
realize it was a must have, but it really
Yeah.
is.
And yeah, and that's like one of those things where it's like borderline must have, right? You don't necessarily need it
You
because you
can
worked for a
function
long time
without it.
without it.
I functioned for years without it, but I had no idea how much it would make me
But
better and faster.
but when you're doing things, and this is something that um I learned in the IT industry. Um, Sorry, I got a distracting message and then just ADHD. So the Tornador, you know, you don't necessarily need it, but in the IT industry, one of the things that we learn is like a lot of things that we do are flat rate, right? We're charging a customer $3,000 a month, whether we spend this much time on them or this much time on them, right? So you're basically responsible for your hourly rate based on how efficient you can become. So if you're doing a ceramic coating or an interior cleaner or an entire project, and you're billing a flat fee, $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 to do like a full ceramic coating. If you can make yourself more efficient and go from that taking 10 hours to that taking 8 hours, like you're increasing your hourly rate tremendously. Now that depends on you being able to fill your pipeline and have more work for yourself to do, right? And you
Mhm.
can't always have that. But at the same point, it's a good way to give yourself a raise if you can increase efficiency. And a Tornador is pretty inexpensive way to give yourself a raise when you're doing
Which do you
interior.
like better, Tornador or the mini Tornador? Because personally, I love the mini Tornador. I have fallen in love with that thing. It is
I
so amazing.
I personally use I use the one from the Rag Company, and I know it's not the right place to say that, but like the Rag
What's
Company
your
one has
compressor that you use though?
the little bearing. I use, it's like a Harbor Freight Fortress, one of the 80% quiet compressors. I
How
really
big
want
is
to get
it?
a California. It's small, but I don't use it. I don't use it a lot. So
Okay.
I'll just use it and I'll just chill and use it and chill. And, I'll spray a couple things and vacuum. I just take it easy. If I was doing it professionally, I would definitely buy a bigger compressor, and I'd probably do
I
like
have
the
the 10
California Air
gallon.
Tools or something.
Yeah, I have the 10-gallon California Ultra Quiet tank with the mini Tornador, no downtime whatsoever. I can use that thing freaking just nonstop for
Yeah.
5-6 minutes straight. It starts to throw water on me. That's the
Yeah.
only like gross part, but it works so good. I know a couple people mentioned like the Lily brush. I'm thinking you mean the aniline brush, not the Anon brush. Um, the aniline pet hair brush, it's the triangular one. I don't know if you've ever used it.
No.
Dynamic. Pet hair brushes, I think, are essential for a tool. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're going to be a detailer,
Yeah.
because when you need it, you're going to need it, and you're going to
Right.
need it really bad. Pumice stones.
Right.
But don't just buy one. Honestly, I have 5 or 6 pet hair brushes because one vehicle might require one, one other vehicle might require 5 because
Right.
different carpets, different surfaces,
Right.
the hair lengths. So if you see a pet hair brush, just buy it. Like,
Yeah.
try it. Because I've used even the gold brushes. That works in certain scenarios. Sometimes a drill brush, sometimes a air compressor, sometimes an air compressor won't touch it if you are dealing with impossible carpet and things like that. So I definitely think a pet hair brush is an essential tool, a variety of them. I've done a lot of videos on my channel when it comes to pet hair accessories that I like. Detail brushes,
Right.
those are essential.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I like the synthetic ones
scrub
better
ninjas.
than like the boar hair or whatever,
Yes,
honestly.
I would agree. I like the
Retail
chemical
Factory are my
resistant
favorite
ones.
ones.
Work stuff I found have been the most durable. I got them
Okay.
from Car Supplies Warehouse. They last extremely long. They're delicate. And I mean, there's different finishes. There's the ultra soft ones,
Mhm.
but they don't really do much. They're more
Mhm.
for like thrills and spills on TikTok. They don't really do a lot of heavy lifting. The chemical resistant ones are softer,
Mhm.
but they're going to actually budge the dirt versus just moving chemical around.
I think a bucket dolly is, I don't know
Yes,
exactly must
definitely.
have, but it's borderline at least,
If
because
you are 40, you need a bucket
well,
dolly.
yeah, you don't need to be carrying around a 5-gallon bucket with, water's 8 pounds at a gallon. So you're talking about a 42
Mhm.
pound bucket that you're carrying around if it's full.
Mhm.
My buckets are 6 gallons. Like, I would just rather have the dolly, roll it around behind me. If you're doing paint corrections, I think you need some sort of detailing chair, whether it's something
Yes.
like Ivan's Kneeler thing, or it's like I have a Viper chair.
I
Maybe
have a
don't.
Viper, and I will
Yeah.
say this. So I had the tracks on,
Right.
and if you're a little wider
Hmm.
and you like lower cars or you have a lower car, perfect. Super
Hmm.
comfortable. I think it was under 200. It was like 180, I think, on Amazon. The Viper, I like was checking my pulse. Am I really doing this?
Yeah.
But it was worth it. I'll be
Yep.
honest with you. That thing is so smooth.
Hmm.
I did have to get used to sitting in it when I first got it. I fell out of it a couple times. I should have gotten the big boy. Apparently, I've got big hips. Who would have thought? Um, but it is so smooth and so comfortable. It's adjustable. They actually, did you see? They just have a an add-on that you can make. Even if you have the type of chair that you have to rotate to raise it and lower it, you can
Yeah.
purchase this. I think it's like $200 by itself, but you can make it the adjustable ones.
Yeah. And you can actually buy all of the new chairs with that, and it's not any more expensive than the spinny thing, right?
Mhm.
So it's an option, right? Um,
But
I.
those are things that, like you said earlier,
Mhm.
they're gonna last longer. They're going to make your life a little bit easier because, like, my Traxxon is great, but it only goes so high.
Right.
So when I'm doing big trucks and stuff like
Yeah.
that, it's limited. So sometimes buying a more expensive thing is gonna just help solve a multitude of problems versus just like one scenario.
Well, and again, not to brag, I have 2 Viper chairs. I have a tall one and a short one.
I need to go into IT apparently. Jeez, I could not. I couldn't even fix my own pressure washer. I could barely figure this out. So microfiber must-haves. I'm trying to get through
Yeah.
these as quickly as
No,
possible.
no, you're
So
good. You're good. I think you need a good drying towel. I think you need something that is a short weave, like a Mr. Twister FTW, that style towel for like applying a drying aid or some sort of thing like that. I like pearl weave towels for coatings. If you're doing coatings, I think you need pearl weave towels. And then beyond that, like, a pretty standard microfiber for interior, for polishing, for, you know, that kind of stuff. I like to have the different colors for each of those just so I can tell them apart. But you know, I think any quality micro, like I used Rag Company for a long time. I have mostly Thor stuff now. And it's really like, I've gone back and forth between the two of them. There are things that I like about both. Like Rag Company towels have perforations where the roller like rolls them up and stuff like that. So there's like holes through them, and that like bugs me visually. And you know, the Thor ones don't, like, just weird stuff like that. I like some of the Thor colors a little bit better than Rag Company, but
Honestly, their V2 towels are very, very impressive, but you
oh yeah,
can't go
they're
wrong
awesome.
with V1 either.
Yeah.
I think, like what you were saying, wash mitt drying towels that are
Hmm.
high quality.
Hmm.
I would say even if you could go Korean, that would be ideal, but
Yeah.
you don't always have to.
And I've
Um,
used Flynn, I've used Carbon Collective, I've used a variety of other brands that are Korean microfiber, just something quality.
are glass towels needed? Like
I
dedicated glass towels?
This is the one that I use. I actually have one sitting here. It's Dry Me a River. I
Waffle weave.
I like the waffle weave
Mhm.
personally.
They scrub
I,
glass a little bit better, I think.
I could use something like a Final Level or an or a Mr. Twister just fine. They would work just fine. But
Mhm.
I like these a little bit better for doing windows. And there's one sitting here because I have computers and laptops and screens and stuff like that. So I just happen to keep one on my desk.
I know
Um,
we are sponsored by the House of Rags. We are on the House of Rags YouTube channel, but I don't think that you can go wrong with any of their towels.
right.
It's just trying to figure out which ones you need. I think you had it right though. The Mr. Twisters, I
Hmm.
didn't realize are actually phenomenal glass towels.
Oh yeah. Well, for years on, so the Mr. Twister is very similar to a Rag Company towel called the FTW, and FTW actually stands for the windows. DIY Detail sold Nick's favorite glass towel. It's like the same style towel, right? That silk edge or suede edge twist loop towel, like they're fantastic. They work really really well, and they do a great job on windows. I do the exterior of my windows with them because I'm usually using like a drying aid or a quick detailer or something like that, and I just go over them, and they work phenomenally well. Um,
What are your thoughts on Kirkland towels and Walmart towels?
I use them for like one-time use situations, if that makes sense. So I also I don't really do them anymore. I buy the rolls from like,
Auto
you know,
fiber.
yeah, auto
Well,
fiber makes rolls.
even Walmart has the
Mhm,
microfiber rolls. Like if you need it
mhm.
for disposable stuff, like when
Yeah,
I'm
they're like
doing
auto
tar
essentials or something
removal.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So tar removal,
I don't
really
wanna
dirty,
wash that in my washing machine. Those are gonna be
really, yeah,
disposable, and that's perfect for that scenario.
degreasing, really dirty wheels,
Mhm,
engine oil changes, stuff like that. I'm going to use them one time. I'm going to throw them away when I'm done.
mhm. I mean, I hate wasting, like, I hate adding to a landfill, but sometimes it's just not worth trying to save, a little
Yeah,
square when I'm polishing, exhaust pipes
yeah,
or I'm removing tar. Those are the ones that we're using one of the tear off towels. And so I think Walmart, Kirkland, like those are good scenarios for that where you're needing kind of a cheap, but when you're working with paint,
yeah.
you definitely want to invest in high quality towels. What
Kirkland
would,
towels are for solution finish. Every solution finish, it turns them black.
yeah, yeah. That's why I pretty much have black towels just for that scenario.
Yeah,
So that way I'm like, it's fine, but those ones do get thrown away as well.
yeah.
What would you say are some storage must haves?
Yeah, so I think everybody should have some cabinets, like you know, whether it's new age or I would say don't buy cobalt because I did those, they sucked. Buy buy cabinets that come fully assembled and are welded. Welded is the big thing. The corners are welded because those are going to be ones that like the doors always align and they always open and shut smoothly, and they're going to hold a reasonable amount of weight. And like just the organization that you get out of a set of nice cabinets, being able to put all of your, whether it's power tools, hand tools, rags, towels, cleaning supplies, whatever it may be. I think it's necessary. If you can do it, do it. And there's something that you like, I'll probably have my cabinets for forever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they last.
Unless there's an earthquake.
Yeah. Or I move and I might leave them behind
Yeah.
because somebody like wants them, and I'll buy a new set for my new house or something like that. Even if you want to change the color, you can vinyl wrap them. You can have somebody powder coat them. Like
Hmm.
there's other options and stuff out there. But I would say, yeah. Cabinets are nice. Anything that you could do to get stuff that should not be in the garage or doesn't need to be in the garage out of the garage. So we talked earlier about like overhead storage. We talked about a shed, an attic, other things like that. Get Christmas out of your garage. Get your bikes out of your garage if you can, and just
Are
try to.
stainless steel shelves like a must-have, or do you think wood is sufficient?
Um, I have stainless shelves.
We know. I've seen like multiple of them, and they're
Yeah.
not cheap.
No, I mean, I have the OG ones. So I will say, like, I've had them for 4 years and they look like the day I bought them. I don't have any problems with them. They work really well. I would say if you're going to buy stainless shelves, invest in good ones, because the cheap ones, the finishes get destroyed and then you get annoyed by them. I don't know that you need stainless shelves, but I know that steel shelves, like the Poca Premium shelves from Clean Garage, are about the same price as what I paid for my stainless. Wood is perfectly fine. I think that the problem that you run into, and I've done wood before, like we had them in my storage room for a long time, is you get a leaky bottle and the wood swells up, and it's like, it's way easier to ruin wood shelves. And there were a couple wood shelves that I had to replace 2 or 3 times, where on the stainless stuff, like I'm on my first set. So it like goes into that buy once, cry once thing. I cheaped out with the stainless shelves. I have some of the wire racking shelves as well in my storage room. And I keep like, my oil on there, my whatever, WD-40, my gallons, my backups, that kind of stuff is on there, and they work fine. That's a good cheap option, actually. Wire shelves, like the Rubbermaid stuff from Lowe's, that works well. But
what are some products you think detailers should avoid? And we don't necessarily have to like make this a hit piece. Yeah. Although people might love that.
Well, I had one product that I really reviewed that I absolutely hated, and I tried using it 3 times on video, and all 3 times I had a bad experience and I couldn't make it work for me, and that was Purist P3. So not to name names, but I just kind of did. I could not get that.
It rhymed with Urist.
I couldn't get it to not streak, and it's a wet coat. It's like Gion wet coat or Aqua, right?
See, I have no problems. I bought it by the gallon. I love that stuff.
Yeah, I had nothing but problems here, but I think it's just because it's dry. It just didn't work for me. But
it's California, man.
Yeah, I guess.
No, you're the perfect weather. That is not the reason.
Yes, exactly. What else to avoid? I really don't like anything that's glossy on the interior. I think that is not only detracts from the appearance of the vehicle and detracts from the driving experience, but also can be dangerous in a lot of cases, because you end up with a lot of glare from sunlight when you've got a dash that's got Armor all over it. And I don't mean to like call out Armor specifically, but everybody, when I say the word Armor, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
That
high gloss dressings on the interior.
Yeah. Like you're not wearing your seatbelt and you slide all the way across the back seat as a kid, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
My father-in-law actually, he has his 72 Nova, and he's always wiping down the bucket seats with Armor All, and we don't sit in it frequently, so it accumulates dust, and we all know what Armor All does. It's like freaking glue. Well, I sat in the back seat the first time. I think this was years ago when I first met my husband, and he took us for a drive, and it doesn't have power steering, so he's going around corners and accelerating, and I'm just literally sliding from one side of the car to the next. When I got out, there was literally a ring of dust around my butt, where the Armor All had literally just like tarred and feathered my butt with it. And I was like, this is why we don't use it.
Yeah. My mom had a 4Runner, and my dad used to use Armor All in the back seat. And I remember I would like, if I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, we'd go around the corner and slide across the seats. This is back in the 90s. Seatbelts were optional, But anyway.
What would you say as far as, I'm trying to think, some other tools that are products to avoid, like, when it comes to pressure washer accessories? Do you need the long tip extension? Do you need all the fancy foam cannons that spin and things like that?
I use a short gun for almost everything. I use a 40-degree nozzle for almost everything. I would say there are some things like a turbo nozzle can be really dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, because it's basically a 0-degree jet that's being spun around real fast. And like, put that on a concrete sidewalk and see the drawing that it makes in the concrete. Like those can be really rough on paint. I'm
curious to know from people in the comments. Someone mentioned leather conditioners. What are your thoughts on leather conditioners? Like, I personally don't like them. I don't use them unless we are like brittle and I
I
need to put something, because I mean, we've seen so many videos from Rand from Geist and other
Mhm.
people that have said if we have a clear coat over top of the leather seats,
Yeah.
it's not really allowing it to absorb. Half the time when I sit down, I'm absorbing it into my jeans.
Mhm.
So it's not really going into the seat. Is that one of those products that you would say is one to
I
avoid?
I used Geist leather preserver occasionally, but really like so my it depends on the car, right? So like my Mini, my 2024 Mini that has 3,000 miles on it, that's got like a leather shield on it, protection product, right? But my 2015 Mercedes that just crossed 100,000 miles this week, that because the seats are like getting to the point where there's like creases in them and stuff like that, I know that that coating is breaking down. That's where I'm using something like Geist leather preserver. It comes in a metal can. It's like
Mhm.
it's kind of like a waxy product, and I'll put that on real light and I'll let it like sit for a while and then buff it off, and it softens it up a little. You're right though, it doesn't absorb in like all of the main areas. It's just certain spots,
What
right?
about tire coatings?
I don't like tire
I
coatings
don't
because I don't like
either.
shiny tires. I put what's the one, Armor Ghost? I put Ghost on one of my tires to test it out, and
I
it
don't
was
feel like
like
that is as strong as some other tire coatings. I feel like it's
I really
almost a
hated it
hybrid.
after like a
I
month,
didn't hate it. I mean, I've used dedicated tire coatings in the past.
right?
And I had an experience where I had a customer that he had a Lincoln MKZ. And I mean, I think he thought this was like a G Wagon. Like we're talking top of the line, black vehicle. He brings it to me. He says, I want you to put a paint coating, wheel coating, glass coating, tire coating, everything. I want everything coated, interior leather coated. So I did it. He comes back to me, I think like 3 months later, shows me an invoice for new tires and he says, "You're going to pay for my new tires." And I said, "I'm
Wow.
sorry, what?" It was $800. He goes, "You ruined my tires with the tire coating. I had to buy new tires." I said, "You do know, like, I could have used something to remove it, even gasoline or something like that,
Right.
and it would have been perfectly fine."
Right.
But because he didn't understand how to use it, what it really did, how to maintain it, how to remove it,
Yeah.
he panicked and bought new tires and then wanted me to be responsible. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm not going to do tire coatings at my business anymore because the average customer isn't going to understand. I think they're great for enthusiasts who have done research, who know how to remove them.
Right.
But as a professional, I don't know if we should be messing with tire coatings with customers unless they fully know, like you're signing an agreement. Like
Right.
in 8 weeks, you need to come back for me to remove it. But I do
Right.
think, honestly, tire coatings, they don't allow the tires to actually breathe properly. I've
Mhm.
seen them where they actually crack and kind of look
Yeah.
gnarly after a couple weeks, and that makes me wonder if they're not as flexible as they should be to go with the tire, and that's why we have it looking like crap after about 2-3 months. What are you
Yeah.
guys' thoughts in the comments? Do you guys do tire coatings? Do you think that that's one of those products to avoid?
Yeah. I mean, I see in here, wouldn't use it on customers. You just use regular tire dressings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of products that I think can be very overwhelming for people. And I know we
Yeah.
do these reviews. At the end of the day, I mean, try it out,
I
see
would
if you
just
like it.
follow the instructions, understand what you're
Mhm.
working with. I purposefully don't watch people's videos before I test products because I want to have the first experience to
I'm the
to
same
be
way.
mine.
I'm the same way. I don't want it to taint it.
But if I don't follow the instructions and I ruin something, that's on me.
All right. I have 3 questions that I want to hit you with
Okay.
before we go. Do you have
Okay.
time?
Yes.
Okay. If budget wasn't an option, what
Hmm.
would your dream setup be?
Hmm.
IT
Well,
guy. I don't
this is
think we
more
have.
this is more on the cabinet side of things than anything. I would
Okay.
really love to have Sonic MSS Plus or Rousseau. Rousseau is what Pan has. MSS Plus is the all black, like if you've ever seen the Obsessed Garage, the Helen house that they have in
Mhm.
Georgia. Again, it's like a $35,000 cabinet array, but I just think they're insane. And it's just one of those things where it's like it doesn't get any better. No higher quality exists.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know that I would want all of Matt's tools. I have some things like Tecton and stuff like that that I actually like better than what he has. Um, I I would love to have dual pressure washers. I think that that would be fun. I don't think it's really necessary, but why not? Like we're talking dream. I love my lights, but I wish I had more of them. I don't know.
Do you like the hex lights? Do you think that
No,
those are a
I don't.
cool?
I don't. I think that you end up with a lot of lines and stuff, and the colors, like I think it's really hard to detail with them.
They look great in videos, though.
Yeah, they look cool for Instagram, but I
Hmm.
love the I have the Cree lights, but I even did the ones at Christie's house, the prime lights. Those worked really well. Just high quality linear fixtures, I think, are great.
I
Um,
got some basic LEDs off of Amazon. I think like
mhm.
6 of them
Like for
for
Reno or something like that.
$70.
Hmm.
I didn't even hardwire it. There's literally cords going from like one to the next because I am not mechanically gifted, Jeff. And it works. I did invest. I will say this when it comes to lighting, I do think that we didn't talk about that in the tools must haves. If you're going to be a professional detail, lighting is essential, even for the enthusiast. If you can't see
Right,
dirt, you can't clean dirt.
right.
But Car Supplies Warehouse, or they have the dimmable lights that you can either mount or put on a stand. Comes with a remote
Hmm.
to turn it on and off, make it cool or warm. Those I think would be, if you're getting into professional detailing, a must-have.
Yeah,
And then I would even say a softbox light
like
for
especially if you're
ceramic
filming
coatings.
or for
Hmm.
coatings. Yeah,
Hmm. So I
yeah.
mean, there's certain, even like the cheap headlight lights to be able
Hmm.
to see interiors in the winter when it's dark out, or to do paint correction. Lighting,
Yeah,
I
the
think,
neck sled
can.
ones are actually really nice. I have a scan grip one. I like the neck sled one just as much, honestly.
Yeah, I think I have like a $12 one from Amazon. I like,
Hmm.
they'll die. My kids use them for hide and go seek in the dark. So that way I do not give them the expensive ones. But I think Astro Pneumatic has their 50 PSL max lights. They're like $80 on Amazon, cheaper than the scan grip, work just
Hmm.
as good, can do like multiple temperatures and stuff. So lighting, I would say, if we're going back to the tools must haves, we kind of overlook that, but
Yeah,
definitely invest in good lights. Because if you can't see dirt,
yeah,
customer comes to pick it up and you're like, oh no, I didn't see that in the garage. So,
yeah. So budget wise, I would say I would love to have a lift, a real lift. I would
that
love
would
to
be
have
nice.
I'd love to have a high lift garage door, which I might do a high lift conversion anyway. And I would love to have like I said, like a really nice cabinet array. Because I've got like a couple Harbor Freight cabinets and stuff like that now on the one wall, and I'd like to redo that. But again, they're super expensive. I just work
Angel
in my garage.
Angel asks, what about a canopy or tent to help with sun if working outside the garage? Those definitely can help if you have the money, though. I mean, if you go with the DI spotless systems,
Mhm.
that kind of voids having to need a canopy or tent, because then you can wash safely. But if you don't have the option of a spot free rinse system, canopy or tent, you just need to make sure on windy days, stormy days, things like that, that you don't hit the vehicle. You got to
Yeah,
anchor it down some way.
yeah. That's what I'd be worried about. My whole driveway's concrete. It's super wide, and I would be worried about the wind grabbing it and rolling it into the side of a car and causing a dent. Paint thickness
Jay,
gauge.
yeah, I would say that this is one where cry once, buy
Hmm.
once, cry once.
Hmm.
I have the next PTG one
I do
from
too.
Car Supplies Warehouse. I got the cheap ones off of Amazon.
Hmm.
Struggled with getting consistent readings. Couldn't even
Hmm.
kind of like dial them in. This one is super easy. You can even have readings that you can show customers. It'll tell you if paint layer is original or if it's a second layer of coat, even if there's putty or things present. um, really just removes the stress of, can I do a paint correction? How aggressive can I be? And I had a Mazda the other day. The customer purchased a brand new Mazda, had a ceramic coating on put on by the dealership, brought it to me because her purse scratched the door. And she's like, can you polish it out? Pulled out my paint thickness gauge. It was 2.16. My brand new Mazda. I'm like, well, that told me I couldn't go after that scratch too aggressively, if at all. So I would say, if you're going to be a professional detailer, a paint thickness gauge. As a beginner, probably not an essential. You shouldn't be like aggressively polishing your vehicle. If you're doing a paint enhancement, it's not going to really kill it. But once you get into that pro realm, I do think a paint thickness gauge is going to be beneficial. Sometimes a CYA policy.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have a paint, like you said, next PTG. It works very well. I don't use it all the time, but it depends on what you've got, right? I was doing a Subaru here recently. It was my neighbor's car, and I couldn't tell, like, is this paint just heavily oxidized or is it like really thin and I'm going to blow through it? And it works great for that kind of stuff. If you've got a brand new car coming from a dealer or something like that, there's enough there that you can correct it and you don't really have to worry about it. Sometimes you get a repaint though, even from a dealer, you never know.
Jeff, someone asked a question. Have you thought about a YouTube series to go to a different California detailing garages to give them a facelift, the improved garage way?
Yeah, that would be fun. I like I said, I went to Christie's and I did the wall mount pressure washer. That was a lot of fun. And I actually did lights at her house too. I'd have to probably get, Christie's a friend, so I kind of like did that on the down low, but I would probably have to do, insurance and some other things to make it work out properly. But yeah, I think that would be fun. OG does that with some of their garages, their larger ones, and I actually helped them with one maybe 45 minutes away from my house. Fred's garage is the big green, it's like 5,000 square feet. The thing's insane. But yeah, anyway, I think that would be fun, actually. I'd love to help people design if they had questions. If you only had to choose one brand that you had to stick with for the next, let's say, 2 years, what brand would it be and why?
Jeez, that's so hard. Because honestly, being an affiliate with the House of Rags has probably made my life so much more enjoyable, but stressful because there's brands that I never heard of. Before, we have US based brands and you get really comfortable. That's why, like, even like American Detailer Garage, forgot about them. Absolutely loved them when I first started detailing. McKee's 37, Superior Products. I don't know if I could choose one brand though. I think honestly, Detail Co. has probably come the closest. That's not me kissing butt or anything. Their
Right.
products work really, really well and they're very affordable. They smell great. They work great. For me, that's kind of
I
the
think
all
as a
around that I'm
pro,
looking for.
I think as a pro Detail Co., like if I was doing it professionally and I was billing for it and all that kind of stuff, I think as an enthusiast, maybe Clean Tool. Clean Tool has a really broad line. They've got a ton of different products. I don't love all of their exterior products, honestly. Like I don't love their, TFR pre-wash and some of their soaps, but their interior line is really solid. They've got different tire and wheel cleaners and glass. They've 3 or 4 different glass cleaners, everything down to like, they have a concentrate for filling up your windshield washer reservoir for your, windshield washer fluid, like tons and tons of stuff. So I think that's a really broad line. So that would kind of cheat the system in a way because one line, but it's like 25 products,
Well, and I think it really depends on what you're looking for as far as user experience.
Right.
If you want a green friendly experience with low odor that's not caustic, yeah, Clean Tool would be a great one. You can look at Mile Deep. They're green friendly, biodegradable, really effective products. We've got Katibo. I mean, just simply at the House of Rags, we've got more options available to us now that I don't think we even knew about a year
Right.
ago.
Yeah.
Jamie
I
and
didn't know
Eddie
Apple
have
Pines
have
existed until they were at my
yeah.
house.
Yeah. I mean, I know that I have a ton of Koshemi products, but I wouldn't say I love all of them. I don't use all of them. DIY Detail, they're another really great their whole setup, everything works. Phoenix EOD. I've not tried a single product from him that doesn't work fantastic. It really comes down to price, user experience, and expectations. So I don't know if I could choose one brand, I'll be honest, but that's the great thing about detailing is I don't have to. I can mix and choose.
Right.
I can try one product, finish it up, try another product. This whole, I don't know, the squabbles that we see online where people start getting like loyal to brands to the point where they're fighting with people that this like I'm like that's great for you. And in
Right.
3 months you might move on to another product and it doesn't matter. It's an interior detailer. Let's just have fun and enjoy the experience. Detailing is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be therapeutic for us. Let's not make it a bigger thing than it needs to be.
I agree.
Cleaner Car said Thor is overwhelming. It actually triggers me. We should have like a support group for all of us. I
There's a
think
Reddit.
honestly, I'm gonna call it Detailing Addicts Anonymous (DAA)
There you
instead
go.
of IDA. We're gonna make some T-shirts or something. Maybe we'll sell them at SEMA for those of us. But if you guys have any other questions for Jeff, I think I have one more question for
Okay.
him.
Okay.
Okay. We were going to make this question number three. We're going to skip every question number 2 because I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
If you had a limited budget, what products would you recommend for someone just starting out?
I think we just said it, not to kiss ass, but I would probably look at Detail Co. Or Phoenix EOD. They're both really, really inexpensive. They're both available in larger quantities. They're both, I don't know, they're both versatile. They have a lot of different options, dilutions. So I would say, yeah, I would look at Detail Co. Just they're not cheap, but they're cheap for what you get, honestly. And you could buy 16s of everything and try them out and see how they are. They're always on sale, it seems. There's always some sort of Eddie decided today to put this on sale kind of thing.
Making Jamie's life spicy.
Yeah, I know. So I would check that out. If thinking of some other other lines, I honestly really like the whole ADS line. I don't think they're as economical as, but I had a great experience with a lot of them. And for a while, some of their products were my top shelf, and eventually have now been replaced by one or two things here or there. I think that what I would recommend is if you have a place locally. So there's like I said, California Car Care. It's like in Santa Maria. It's 20 minutes from my house. And there's a guy there, like he's a detailer, but he also like sells products and stuff. And he has gallons of, he's 3D. Everything is all 3D. Right. And like, I spent time there where he's just like showing me the products and how to use them and like all this different stuff. Like, I would find something that you have a support system around you and you can actually like get some ability to learn how to use those products and how they're intended to be used, whether that's in person from somebody down the street, or it's, YouTube and looking at videos from, people like us, or like, Eddie and Jamie with their own line, or Ivan with DIY. And I would stick with a specific line, get used to that line, find what you like and don't like about that line. And then once you get used to once you've developed your methods and you've got comfortable doing the job, then you can say, okay, well, I really wish this product was a little slicker, or this product cleaned a little bit better, or whatever, and go start looking for the one or two things that maybe are a little bit better for you. But yeah, I mean, that's what I would say. I'd say start off with something like Detail Co. and then kind of go from there.
Great advice. And I like that, get familiar with, I'm not saying you have to stay with that brand, but get familiar with the brand to understand what that process looks like. And then when you become comfortable, that's when you can start kind of experimenting. And honestly, the way that the industry is constantly evolving, you're always going to find a product that probably performs a little bit better, but that's the fun part of it as we all grow and learn with this process. So
yeah, that's the part that I like.
Hopefully this hasn't been too overwhelming for you guys who are listening or watching, and we were trying to provide options. This isn't meant to be exhaustive, like I said at the beginning, but hopefully this just gives you guys maybe just a sense of comfort when it comes to choosing the right products, to know what to avoid. And maybe if you are overwhelmed, just know you're not alone.
And Chelsea's starting a support group for everybody.
Yeah. Detailers Addicts Anonymous. We'll have t-shirts and memberships at SEMA, so you can sign up. I'm going to be the charter president. So
perfect.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed chatting. I know you guys have been going crazy in the comment section. I absolutely love each and every one of you guys for hanging out with us tonight, for all of the feedback. You gave great suggestions. And if you guys are in the comment section and you want to know, just go to the live chat. There's a ton of more suggestions than even what Jeff and I discussed for you guys, just to kind of get a gauge and a sense of what other people are saying. So thanks, guys, in the chat section for giving your feedback. Really appreciate it. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. It was a fun one for me. Get to geek out a little bit. But we'll see you guys next Wednesday, 7 p.m. right here at the House of Rags YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe so that way you don't miss out on any of our future pods. But we'll see you guys next week. Have a great one.
You too. Thanks.
If you guys have watched this podcast episode all the way through to the end, thank you so much for watching. If you like the podcast, make sure you give us a thumbs up. If you really like the podcast, make sure you subscribe and hit that notify bell so that way you don't miss out on any of our future podcast episodes. If you're listening on any of our podcast streaming platforms, make sure you leave us a review and let us know what more you want to hear of in the future. So that way we can make sure that we bring on the guests and discuss the content that you guys want to hear. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And we'll see you next Wednesday right here at the House of Rags YouTube channel. Have a great night.